सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि। भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। My namaskars to you all who are listening this talk on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. In the previous class, we had seen this verse number 11 and also touched this verse number 12 of the 7th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. The name of this chapter being Jnana Vijnana Yoga. Now, until now, we have seen that Bhagavan, he is explaining what this Vijnana is. And giving first the example, the sample of it. Like in the 7th verse, he declared that there exists nothing other than him. Mattaha parataram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya. There exists nothing, O Dhananjaya. That everything is as if like beads in a string are woven or strung into me. This is what he said. That all beings, who are born, they come from me. And I am the origin and the end of whole creation, etc. he had said. And this idea, then he explains what does it mean that there exists nothing other than him. So he starts to put it into particulars. Like he says that I am the liquidity, the sap of the water. I am the effulgence of the sun and moon. I am the Omkara word, which is considered as the primordial, which denotes by its 3 notes A, U and It is the origin, existence and the end of the sound, and thereby all words, and thereby all knowledge. That's why, like in the, he says, Pranava Sarva Vedeshu, that I am the Pranava in all of the Vedas, or whatever the known knowledge to human being is. I am the Shabdaha, the sound of Akasha, in Akasha, because every element is related with some specific sensory object. So, for the element of earth, the sense of smell and object of smell is associated. So, with the element of air, there is a sense of sparsha or touch that is related, etc. So, with this element of water, there is a sense of taste that is related, associated. So, Akasha is infinite, and this word sound is associated with that element, thereby suggesting that Akasha is the most primordial element from which everything comes up one by one until earth being the last. So of that primordial element, and I am, so how he is one with this whole creation, that is what is denoting by that Shabda Khe. Khe means Akasha. Paurusham Nrushu, that by all this analogy we can miss examples, we can understand what Bhagwan is citing, putting forth before Arjuna, that he is the essence of everything, of most fundamental, of most grand, that what is enveloping everything. Then he ends with Paurusham Nrushu, that manliness of a man. Punyo Gandha Prithivyancha Tejaschasmi Vibhavasau Jivanam Sarva Bhuteshu, that I am the life of all beings. And also, who are the virtuous, are the, he gives one example here, Tapaschasmi Tapasvishu, that one, I am the asceticism, austerity of the ascetics. I am the very essence of that, of any greatness, anywhere you see, I am the essence of it. That means that I am the essence. What is its meaning? That it comes forth from me. He says later on that I am the seed of all beings, the seed eternal. I am the intelligence of the intelligent. I am the glory of the glorious. I am the power of the powerful. Balam balavatam asmi, the strength of the strong. Free of all desire or passions or attachment. I am that desire, that which is not antagonistic to the path of righteousness, to the path of the dharma, etc. He said. This is until the 11th verse. In various ways, now in this 12th verse, it is as if he is trying to clear it, that so that Arjuna should not confuse it again. And he said that Echaiva Satvika Bhava Rajasas Tamasascha E, that all these bhava are the states of your mind, moods of your mind, if you can miss conventional words or vocabulary, if you want to use. Bhava, Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. I explained, I touched this earlier. So what does this mean? And Bhagwan says, all these moods of your mind, they comes forth from me. E chaiva sattvika bhava, rajasas tamasascha e. They come forth from me. Matta eveti, matta from me, eva, matta eva, from me only. Eti, they comes, they come, they proceeds. Know that for sure. Tan vidhi, know that they come from me only. This is what he said. Now, but in the last quarter of this 12th verse, this I had touched a little bit, and I will try to explain it little bit more. Here in this verse, he kills this vacuous romanticism one may mistakenly understand from the words of the Bhagwan. That some people we see in their life, in our life in general, their positivity is as more almost to the level of cringe. This is the new word, new day word, cringe, and irritating. Now it is for those people that you should not you should not misunderstand what Bhagwan is trying to drive you, trying to make you understand. So this last quarter, this fourth charan of this 12th verse is important. What is being said there? He simply says few cryptic words. Na tvaham teshu te mai. This much he said. Interesting thing is, he do not use any verb in that. So interpreters, they use a different, I will take the example of Bhagwan Shankaracharya. So what word he has used to explain this cryptic utterance, exhortation of Bhagwan. What does it mean? Tu, but, no means na means no. Aham, I, teshu, in that, in them, in rajasa, satvika, tamasa bhavas. In these bhavas, so this is what wordings are. No, but I am not in them, and they, so we have to understand they are in me. They are in me. So Shankaracharya, he uses the verb adhina or vasha. That I am not there of those bhavas. I am not adhina or vasha or in control of these bhavas, of these moods. But rather I am in charge of them. They are in my control. Te mai. They are in my control. So, mai adhinah. Na tu aham teshu adhinah. Te mai adhinah. This would be the sentence formed by using the word adhinah. Shankaracharya uses this phrase. Now, here where Bhagwan is talking about the existence, that I am that, I am that, I am everything. And here he says they come forth from me. So here we cannot say that it is that adhina will make sense or that should be appropriate. So the only possible here vibhakti teshu is the saptami vibhakti, which is denoting of the location. So most closest verb we can imagine is asti. So what it will mean? That no, but I am not in them, and rather they are in me. So there is a note on this verse by Swami Swarupanandaji, to which whose Gita I am referring here. So I will read it to you and see what does he say. all things are in him, him being God, yet not he in them. This is so Swarupananji clearly uses the verb asti. Asti means which is denotes or implies existence. So all things are in him, yet he not he in them. Logically, this can only happen in superimposition through illusion, as that of a ghost seen in the stump of a tree. The ghost is in the stump, seen in the stump of a tree. The ghost is in the stump from the point of view of a man in the dark, but the stump is never in the ghost. Similarly, the universe is superimposed on the Lord, seen in his place through Maya, but he is not in it. The Lord returns to the same teaching in chapter 9, in verse 4 and 5. So, what Maharaj is saying, so when this can happen, what is our real world example of it? That he, all things are in him, but he is not in them. So he takes an example, a classic example of illusion through superimposition. So suppose one person is traveling on the road where there is somewhat shadow and light in that kind of scenario. In the night, suppose he is traveling, okay, by a road, and he is walking by. There is a stump of a tree. So there is somewhat light and somewhat darkness, and in such situation we cannot discern what exactly is the entity. And what happens is, generally your state of mind really creates a play there, and you see several things. So this case of illusion is explained in while explaining the Vedanta. So various people will superimpose their favorite object of contemplation over the real object in the world, rather here stump of the tree. So a thief will fear that probably the stump of the tree is the policeman. A wealthy man who is going by that road and having some probably money or wealth, something about him, so he might think that he might be a robber who is lurking there. Probably a lover who has gone to see his beloved, he might think that it is she who is standing there in somewhat light and shadows. So here a man who fears ghost, he thinks that he is a ghost. So ghost is not in the tree. Ghost is not in the tree. It is superimposed upon the tree. The reality is something. And upon the reality, this is what we see, what we perceive is superimposed. So this explanation Maharaj gives, and he says that Lord seen in his place, that similarly the universe is superimposed on the Lord, seen in his place through Maya. That what we see, that one Lord, God, has become everything. It is through Maya, through superimposition. So many times, but he says, Swamiji continues, but he is not in it. So many times this is said that an idol which we worship is God indeed, but it is not the all of God. Is that clear? So everything what we see, what is created, the God is in every bit of it, every particle of it. But considering that, we cannot say that is the only God and that is all of God. So this is the idea here. Here Maharaj is saying that they that I do not exist in them, but rather they exist in me. That meaning that he is the superset and everything created is the subset of it. But I am not in them. Tu na aham teshu vartate. We can aham teshu bhavati or asti. But they exist in me. Te mai vartate or te mai asti bhavati. So, in this context, it is not same as these different bhava exist in us and as they affect us. Like I have a different kind of suppose a different kind of mood, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. So sometimes means I have the predominance of particular kind of our this gunas, sattvika gunas. My mind is in a very beautiful state of mind, and I am very calm, very serene, very blissful. And you say, or whosoever meets such a kind of person, and he comments very positively about that person. Second time, here the person is in a rajasic state of mind, and people will have that kind of observation and they will have that kind of opinion. Similarly, of the tamasic state of the mind. And as these states of mind, they affect us and brings in the change of our own experience, behavior, and whatsoever we interact with. This is, in this sense, these gunas do not exist in God. Not in this sense. These bhavas, these moods, these states of the mind do not exist in God in this sense. Te mai vartate, that they exist in me in the sense that when Bhagavan says that they comes forth from me, they exist in me, that they dissolve in me. Like in this is the philosophical point, and according to Sankhyas, this creation, and Bhagavan will also refer to it, is made up of these three gunas: sattva, rajas, and tamas. These are the three different frequencies of, say, whatever material. The sattva denotes the equilibrium, rajas is the hyper, and tamas is the hypo. These are the three frequencies. Okay, so anything in material vibrates on those frequencies. So accordingly, its nature differs. So in the universe, everything, even your thought, is considered as material. So it is made up of, so it is vibrates on these three things. So sattva is as if its default frequency. So where its hypo and hyper frequencies are balanced. And it says, Sankhya says, when this creation goes to dissolution, even for a yogi, a Sankhya yogi, who is attaining Kaivalya, what happens? That everything goes backward. All these Vishayas submerge or settles into their particular elements. Their elements, these Vishayas, submerge into their indriyas. Indriyas submerge into mind, then into chitta, buddhi, and ahankara, and then mahat. And that last element, that ignorance, now it is also made up of three gunas. These three gunas now as if comes to an equipoise and they do not vibrate anymore, and this everything dissolves. Everything evaporates. Everything comes as if this whole existence come to naught. And then the Purusha attains its Kaivalya. So he is only aware of itself. The pure consciousness, the pure existence, the pure knowledge. Now, similarly, in that sense that they come from me, they exist within me. But it is not that I exist in them. They are as if superimposed upon me. Here earlier all it seems very romantic. That I am the effulgence of the sun and moon. I am the strength of the strong person. I am the power of the powerful. I am the glory of the glorious. I am the intelligence of the intelligent, etc., etc. He says, but all these bhavas, rajasic, sattvic, tamasic, they come from me. I do not exist in them. I am not in them. They exist within me. This is what Bhagavan says. That do not mistake it when we say, Bhagavan to isme फूल में भी है, पत्ते में भी है, कुत्ते में भी है. I am not in them. Again Bhagavan is saying. So, understanding this contradiction, this subtle difference, this is the key to understand this Vijnana. If we can understand this, that when Bhagavan is saying that I am the soul of everything, and he says I am not in them, if we understand both these statements of Bhagavan, I am not in them, they rather exist in me. What is the meaning of this? That he is not the creation. Whenever he is saying that, it is in this sense that matta eveti, that they come from me only, that it is superimposed upon that reality which we call as God, that consciousness. So not to be mistaken one thing for the other. If this is the crux of understanding the concept of bhakti. Sri Ramakrishna, now this in the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, in the very beginning, this idea comes. Master Mahashay came to see him, Sri Ramakrishna, during the first visit. During the first visit, this happened. And he is a modern day educated person. He is a principal in a school, Mahendranath Gupta. And he is little proud of his English education and all the ways of the modern day. But still somewhere there is something. That's why it pulled him towards Sri Ramakrishna. But his habits, they are not going to leave. So there are 3 visits of Mahendranath Gupta. In 3 visits, Sri Ramakrishna crushes his ego to the smithereens. So, and after 3 blows, Mahendranath Gupta surrenders. So, in the second meeting, this happens. That what Mahendranath Gupta is suggesting to Sri Ramakrishna, that why do you worship idols, murti puja? Why are you doing that? So, because murti, as if we see, it is limited, and that is not God. All right. So nothing more, no, not much intelligence is required to understand why do you do that. You are so illumined soul. So why do you do that? Why do you do worship Kali in the Kali temple? Why do people do that? Then Sri Ramakrishna replies to him that whosoever ever worships the clay, wood, or metal or marble, do they worship that? The material. Nobody is worshipping the material. Everybody is worshipping the consciousness only, Chaitanya only. Nobody is praying, oh wood, oh metal, oh stone, give me this, give me that, make my sufferings go away, grant me this devotion, knowledge, etc., etc. The way people pray, they do not pray to metal, wood, marble, stone, clay. They are not praying that. So Mahendranath Gupta understands his folly, that it is just the symbol. You are always something. So keeping it in front. So you are praying to God only. It is not God. The devotee also understand. Howsoever illiterate, uneducated in your sense or uncivilized in your sense might be, but he is never mistaking it for God. This is not happening. It is his own folly of argumentation. He realizes that and he is a bit embarrassed. And then he says, he does a second mistake. He says to Sri Ramakrishna, then at least people must be educated like that, they must be taught like that, and they must be, explained in this way. And then Sri Ramakrishna loses his temper. Sri Ramakrishna loses his temper and gives him one right slap. And he says to him, you Kolkata, people of Kolkata, you have only this one bad habit to teach everyone. You know yourself nothing. And you are about to go and teaching the whole world. And then he fully crushes his all miss, his own pride and all that, that he simply in one sentence he says, you folks of Kolkata. So in one sentence he, grabs them all, and you have this means to teach everyone. So this idea about this is the very crux of bhakti. Very bhakti is based upon this dynamics. That what is Ishvara, and this contradiction, this apparent contradiction, where in several verses Bhagavan is saying, I am that, I am the soul of everything, I am the life of everything, I am the seed eternal, I am so everything. I am the most primordial element, and the sense of knowledge associated with it. Everything is saying, and then he says, I am not in them. If we understand that, meaning that he is not materially that, he is not material ever. He is always the consciousness. Meaning that everything grand, everything fundamental, everything small, big, good, bad, ugly, everything comes from him. He is never turned into it. He has never become it. That's why he is not in them. They exist within him. They go to dissolution, to it, to that consciousness, to that Satchit Ananda. This is a very complex point, and to that God we pray. Why I say this is the very fundamental of bhakti. Our idea of God and idea of ourselves and idea of world. When we discuss philosophy, they say these are the 3 points it must discuss. Then it's a philosophy. God or the ultimate truth. What is ultimate truth? The man and the world. These 3 things it must discuss. Its correlation, its interconnectedness, its influence, etc. So, here in the Hindu Vedantic Darshan, these 3 things when we see, when we understand, and that's why many times I have said this, to understand Vedanta is easier, to understand Bhakti is very complex. Nobody says so because hardly anyone tries that. Because ये पुणे शहर में हम कहीं पे एक थोड़ी इंस्ट्रक्शन वगैरह लिखी होती है ना, वहां पे कहते पार्टी. सो पुनेरी पाट्या इज अ फेमस काइंड ऑफ what you say, a satire or a joke, a category in itself. Puneri Patya, different this one boards, instruction boards. So one of this instruction board said कि यहाँ पे सब ज्ञानी है, आपके ज्ञान बांटने की यहाँ जरूरत नहीं है. I reminded of this because we are who are born in India, who are born Hindus, right from birth, we know something about religion. Something about religion. Bhakti being the most common of them. And according to and this immense and infinite freedom, individual freedom given to us to practice the way we want, the way we believe, has given us this liberty. So you can be mistaken, and in your own right, you are free to be so. You are free to be mistaken in your own way. Nobody is authorized to come and make you right. Okay? ये फ्रीडम आपको आपका रिलीजन देता है. That you can be wrong, all right. But if you think you are right, till the time you does not understand that it is not sufficient, you need correction. All right. So your religion is complete and absolute freedom is given to you. All right. Now, this creates this situation that unless I inquire, I feel, I are really working it out, and I have some kind of trouble, some contradiction, or something is not working out, till then I might not investigate, till then I might not understand if something is missing, and something a amendment or correction then only will follow. So this is the case with bhakti. आप कुछ जैसा विचार करेंगे, जैसे हम कहते हैं that जैसा भाव वैसी भक्ति. As is your faith, so is your path. ये श्री रामकृष्ण के वचन है. These are the very words of Sri Ramakrishna. As many faiths, so many paths. As is your shraddha, as is your faith, so is accordingly is your path. However, it does not mean that whatever you might believe is the absolute truth. Tomorrow, I suppose, come up with my own new religion, which absolutely deny gravitation. All right. I might very well believe that. Nobody objects me. Okay. Nobody objects me. You can. It is up to you what you want to believe. But by believing that gravitation is false, if I jump from the fifth floor, what will happen? Gravitation will work, because gravitation is not obliged to change its course according to my belief, isn't it? Gravitation will not work according to my belief, meaning that there are some subjective opinions, views, ways, and there are some called objective truths. Truth will not change. So my objective views, approaches, opinions, ways of doing things, slowly and gradually they come to correspond to the truth that is necessary. And why it is necessary? Until then they will not work out. Until then they will not bear fruit. So they must align to truth in their course of progression. If any progression is happening, so is also true of bhakti or devotion or this spiritual progress or spiritual evolution. Spiritual progress, spiritual evolution, these things mean there is a change, there is a travel. For most of our experience, it is mostly static. That there we do not think in the terms of change, in the terms of growth, in the terms of progress, in the terms of evolution, because we do not have any objectives. We do not have any reference of progresses, mapping that progress, mapping that change, we do not have. So unless these ideas or that human being, that individual soul comes up to such kind of ideas and see it as a working and dynamic element in their life, of their experience, in their experience. So till then this very fundamental question will not come, and it will not matter. He will not ever investigate, and he will never comes to this very root, what you said, the element of this bhakti, etc. It will not mean anything to that person. Till then it will not mean. So bhakti is based upon this, that he is always absolutely sure, that is the Bhagwan, he will use this word, ज्ञानी तू आत्मैव में मतम. बोलते हैं कि बाकी तो सब भक्त अलग अलग जो है, उसमें से तो सबसे मेरा प्रिय कौन है? जो ज्ञानी है, जो ज्ञानी है, वो तो मेरी जैसे आत्मा है. ये भगवान के शब्द है. क्योंकि द वन पर्सन, लाइक you may have different friends, but there is one friend. So different associate, different people gives you different kinds of courtesy, reception, and they gives you favor. Maybe because you are in a very superior position, because you also extend some courtesy and some favors to them, etc. Good or bad, some people might just they say very nice thing in front of your face. They do not do so on your back. The one friend who knows your strength, weaknesses, your faults, your ugliness, which probably nobody knows, and still his love is unconditional for you. He never judges you. He never demands anything of you. He is never pompous to instruct you. You do this, and why don't you do that? Why you cannot do that? You are like this, you are like that. This is never the language. And that is the pure love. That is what the true devotion is based on. It is based on the knowledge. Jnani-tu atmaiva me matam. This is that basic knowledge, that more fundamental knowledge, the bedrock of the bhakti. bhakta, a devotee, loves God because he is the ultimate truth of him, the world, and absolutely everything. And all this creation, all this samsara, all this, including his life, good, bad, and ugly of it, thick and thin of it, up and downs of it, hot and cold of it, wife, children, father, mother, loss, profit, glory, insult, everything are but evanescent. They are just the superimposition. They are just an illusion. And he, by the way of devotion, by way of putting it in this way, he just is contemplating, meditating upon the absolute truth of him, the world, and everything, the pure, absolute consciousness, existence, bliss, infinite. This is the devotion. Devotion is not praying God like going to a shop and asking him to give this, give that, I give you this, I give you that. Devotion is a path, is a path to that highest ambition. Towards the transcendence, it is meant for transcendence. It is not to inculcate and pile this ignorance upon ignorance itself. The ignorance being, I am this body and this world is real. It is meant to transcend this, and devotion is path to it. And this is how it is practiced. So until here, we will take the break and continue, and Bhagavan will continue this idea that why world thinks like that and what is the way forward, how to get out of it, in the 13th verse and the 14th verse. Okay? Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. नहीं होने दो, जब तक 6:30 को क्रॉस नहीं होता उसके पहले नहीं चेंज करेंगे, बाद में करेंगे.